Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, we're diving into a company that's making moves in the gaming world and in the world of finance. Get ready for a breakdown of Corsair Gaming's latest filing, and trust me, there are some interesting financial maneuvers unfolding. Before we jump in, if you find value in these corporate deep dives, hit that subscribe button. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. We're looking at a report dated June 30, 2025. This is an 8K filing which companies use to announce major events that could affect their shareholders. In this case, Corsair Gaming's reporting about an agreement. Corsair Gaming made a big move by entering into an amended and restated credit agreement or a new loan agreement. Don't worry, it's really simple to understand. Basically, they've secured new financing to keep the lights on or maybe upgrade their RGB. The credit agreement gives access to a total of $225 million. This is split into two parts, a $100 million revolving credit facility. Think of it like a credit card for the company, and a $125 million term loan facility, which is a more traditional loan. Both of these mature, meaning need to be paid back around June 30, 2030. The agreement also allows Corsair to potentially borrow an additional $125 million if they need it and meet certain requirements. This new credit agreement isn't entirely new. It replaces their old one from September 2021. So they're basically refinancing their debt, possibly to get better terms or more flexibility. Here's how the interest works. It is kind of important in the long run. The interest rate on the loan will be based on something called term SOFR, which is an index that banks use, plus a spread or additional percentage. The spread changes based on how risky Corsair looks to the lenders. The safer they seem, the lower the spread, ranging from 0.50% to 50%. There's also an alternative way to calculate the interest based on a base rate plus another spread ranging from 1.50% to 250% on how risky Corsair looks to the lenders. The safer they seem, the lower the spread, ranging from 150% to 250%. There's also an alternative way to calculate the interest. Based on a base percent to 250%, there's also an alternative way to calculate the interest based on a base rate ranging from 150% to 250% on how risky Corsair looks to the lenders. The safer they seem, that depends on the company's financial health. To make the lenders feel more secure, Corsair's US subsidiaries are guaranteeing the loan. And if things go really wrong, the lenders have a claim on almost all of Corsair's assets, as well as the assets of those subsidiaries. The credit agreement comes with a bunch of rules called covenants that Corsair has to follow. These are pretty standard for these types of loans. Some of these rules limit how much more debt they can take on, what they can do with their assets, and how much they can invest in other companies. These rules also put limits on paying dividends to shareholders or buying back their own stock. This is to make sure Corsair doesn't spend all their money and can pay back the loan. Corsair also has to maintain certain financial ratios like a leverage ratio which compares their debt to their earnings, and an interest coverage ratio which shows how easily they can pay their interest expenses. These are like grades that Corsair has to keep high enough. If Corsair breaks these rules or cats on the loan, the lenders have some serious power. They can stop lending money, demand immediate repayment, and even take control of Corsair's assets. Things could get even more expensive because the interest rate goes up by 2.0%. If Corsair goes bankrupt, then the loan will automatically terminate, and Corsair is expected to pay back all their outstanding obligations to get out of the default. This description is just a summary. If you want all the nitty-gritty details, the actual credit agreement is filed as an exhibit to this report. Now let's step back and zoom out. Why is Corsair doing this? Well, refinancing debt can be a smart move if they can get better terms, like a lower interest rate, which would save them money in the long run. This also gives them more financial flexibility to invest in new products, make acquisitions, or just weather any unexpected storms. Of course, taking on more debt also comes with risks. If the economy slows down or Corsair's business takes a hit, it could be harder to make those loan payments. And those covenants can limit their options, preventing them from making certain moves they might otherwise want to make. Looking at Corsair's overall financial situation, it seems like they're betting on continued growth in the gaming market. They're a well-known brand with a strong product lineup, but they also face competition from other players. The additional financial requirements and controls might impact their overall strategy and innovation, because a lot of it now sits with the loan provider. So what's the final verdict? This new credit agreement seems like a pretty standard financial maneuver for a company like Corsair. It's not necessarily a sign of trouble, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Whether Corsair is taking on the right kind of risk is debatable, which is a question you can answer down in the comments. Alright, that's our breakdown of Corsair's latest filing. What's your take on these new loan agreements and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.